Let's go ahead and download Git on a Windows machine. So I pulled up Google right here and I just searched for Git, and the first result that came up is git-scm.com. We'll go ahead and click on there. And then on this page, this is where we'll actually download it. Okay, this should show up for your operating system. So it detected that I'm on Windows, and I'll just hit this download 2.32.0 for Windows, and it'll show that latest version. Okay, that finished. I'll go ahead and click on that to open up the installer. All right, so that just showed up. You may have to verify that you want to allow Git to make changes on your device. If you do see that pop up, go ahead and hit just OK or yes. I'm just going to go through the defaults here, so I'm leaving everything on the default. You could change a couple of these things. I don't really use Git Bash or anything like that. Most likely you'll use VS Code, but you can just leave all this as a default as well. Okay. Again, just going through the defaults. Okay, so I'm really not going to change anything here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and let that install. Now, the way that we're going to use Git is not like most programs. Most programs will open up by clicking on a file, so like if I wanted to open up Google Chrome, I'd click on the Google Chrome icon. Well, Git is actually something that will be installed that will allow me to run commands on my computer. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to hit my start button here, and I'm going to type in CMD, which will get me to my command prompt. So CMD. Command prompt shows up. I'll go ahead, you can click on either one of those, and we'll just click on that to open it. Now, if you have VS Code installed and you want to use that, you can pretty much open up the same type of window in VS Code. So at the very top, if you just click on the terminal dropdown and click new terminal, you'll see something very similar to what I'm seeing now, but within VS Code. Right here, I'm going to type in Git, which is, oh, hi Git. So I'll type in Git, which is how we'll access all of our Git functionality. And if I just say git -- version, then it says Git is not recognized as an internal or external command, operable program, or batch file. Okay, that's because Git hasn't finished installing yet. But once Git is installed, then we'll be able to see what version of Git we installed, probably that 2.32 or whatever. And then we'll actually be able to use Git for our repositories. We won't really have to run these commands anymore. We'll just use a nice interface built into VS Code that will help us with that. Okay, let's see where our install is. It's getting closer. I'm gonna go ahead and pause this and let it finish. Okay, so it just finished. I'm gonna uncheck that. We don't need to see the release notes. We don't need to launch Git Bash, but I'll just hit finish. Okay, now I'm gonna open up my command prompt. We may have to restart this, and then same thing with VS Code. If you try to run that command immediately, it's likely that you have to restart VS Code or the command prompt. So I'm going to type in CMD again. We'll go ahead and click on the command prompt here. And then we'll run git -- version. Okay, and now you can see it says Git version 2.32.0 Windows 1. Okay, so now this is working. Now in VS Code, you'll be ready to go ahead and do what we're about to do with repositories.